Hey guys, it's your girl Graciela, aka geekxxchic, and guess what? It's Marvel's Runaways Season 2, baby! It's here, it has dropped, it has landed, it exists. I was really excited for this, this particular season, and what I'm even more excited about is that they dropped this season the way that they meant to drop season 1, and that is actually a bingeable, full season, all dropped at once. No more waiting week to week, nail biting, wondering whether or not we're gonna get to see the next episode the next week, and especially considering that they dropped this right before Christmas. You can just imagine if they had actually done it in a staggered release like last time, we would have a hiatus right off the bat, or they would have had to push it out to January. So I'm really happy that we got the full season dropped all at once, because I'm not a very patient person by nature, and I need to get my stories in, you feel me? So, season 2. This episode is called Gimme Shelter. I'm doing the premiere right now. Quick recap of the season. I don't usually watch the recaps as part of my review, but we had a lot go down in season 1 as far as exposition. We got to know about what Pride was. We found out more about kind of what they've been doing over the past, what did they say, like 15, 16 years with sacrificing these young people in order to keep Jonas, who is the leader of their creepy little cult, young and alive and preserved. We had big things happen, like Carolina discovering that she's not exactly human, and that the man she thought was her father is not her father. We also had Nico come across her mother's staff and realize that she could do things, magical type abilities through that. They didn't really go into if whether or not any of it had to do with Nico as a person outside of the fact that she was her mother's daughter, but I saw the previews. You guys saw, watched along with me, saw the trailers, and it looks like Nico is definitely going to be evolving a bit this season. We also had Molly discovering that she's got some super strength going on, and we're not sure whether or not that's a result of the substance that her parents have found and were analyzing. But that was from that giant dig that they were doing, or whether or not she was born with it. I think those were the major developments, of course, in the Old Lace, the discovery of Old Lace, the dinosaur, and the fact that Gert could control it. Those are kind of the major goings on that happened as far as our teen group. And we kind of ended the season on the kids blowing their cover on pretending not to know that their parents were part of Pride or what their parents were up to. And they had a little face-off, and it didn't go quite the way the kids had planned. I mean, they did manage to stop the drilling, at least temporarily, but Jonah showed up, and he's super strong, and they were not ready. They had not planned on that. They had no idea who he was and what he was capable of, and unfortunately, it resulted in them having to retreat. And what was more, the parents decided to basically force the kids' hands as far as giving themselves up by accusing them as being persons of interest in the death of Destiny. And the parents used the fact that she was missing and the fact that it would take heat off of them to frame the children and basically force them to be, like, basically they got the authorities to help them locate the kids rather than them having to do it all on their own, and made it really hard for them to hide. So we really literally ended season 1 with the kids realizing, holy crap, our parents definitely made one hell of a chess move, and we have got to run. We can't stay out in the open anymore. And basically they have to figure out a way to go forward now that they no longer have the option of going back to their really cushy luxury lives. So all of that being said, this episode is called Gimme Shelter, and I think that's pretty obvious. I think right now this episode is going to be all about them figuring out their next steps, and I'm just really anxious to get into it. So without further ado, let's get into this episode, and afterwards we'll have a chat afterwards. Okay? Boop. Really?
We'd like to thank you.
Please turn yourself around.
For your support. As for questions regarding our children and their safety.
Yeah, she's like, can you shut it, please? This is not a press conference for your next movie.
Kids, your parents are here.
These are so not your kids. Aww. The season will be over. You found them already.
Stop, please! Give them back!
Give what back? Who's this? Oh, Chase! Really? How are you not sleeping those on?
Alex, you still have the money?
Please, you gotta allow myself to get robbed blind like Chase.
Whoa, calm down.
No.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you check before you open your mouth?
Man, we suck at being runaways.
I was about to say, y'all need some help. Like, how do you not sleep on the money? Like, if you're gonna be out in the street someplace, that money would be so far down my shirt that you would literally have to wake me to get it. Like, there's no way.
This place is paid for by our parents?
Just eat.
We can't eat that soup.
Nico's right, it's pride soup.
Soup is soup, and I'm
I'm
starving.
about to say,
Of itself is no intent.
y'all too poor for pride, man.
Whether it's
Food and sit at different tables. It might not be as noticeable if we split up.
no way, strength in numbers.
Everyone, just eat as fast as I can.
Hunting won't be a problem.
I think we need to establish a clear leader in this situation as far as like what to do.
We need a tent.
Oh, which we can't buy since Alex lost the money.
Okay, forgetting for a moment that you were supposed to be on lookout, how about the fact that I got us the money to begin with?
True.
Okay, maybe you all could show a little gratitude.
Maybe
Thank
we
you.
can hold
So if you weren't motivated by jealousy, then
Mean.
what? You're just a terrible leader who just makes bad decisions under pressure?
Welcome to lead anytime, Chase.
Right?
But since you're
Heavy as the
capable
head.
of coming up with an idea that doesn't suck, I'll handle it. Again.
True.
Any comment on the fact that Molly Hernandez was taken from your home by Children of Pride?
Could they be more obvious right now? They're killing me.
Not the Children of Pride the media should be looking into. It's their parents.
Oh,
Children
okay.
of Pride are highly accomplished professionals, not to mention what their
She's gonna end up dead,
philanthropy
isn't she?
has done for the city.
What are they doing here? I figured they forgot about this place.
Awkward. We're not all staring.
Reform for homeless children citywide.
They're literally all wearing the same top in different colors.
In the meantime,
Someone needs to pay Graciela a visit. Find out what she knows. Make sure no one else learns it.
Give me an address. I'll deal with it.
Calm down, gangsta.
Pump the brakes there, big guy.
Having enough innocent. But Robert and I are coming with you. It's not that we don't trust you, but
We don't trust you.
we don't.
True facts.
Every day you survive out there, it's another day your dad suffers. I'm good with that.
Wow. But valid.
I wouldn't have called if it was. Can't go back to my friends empty-handed. They're counting on me. I'll do anything.
Ooh, son, that's a black shank you don't want to write.
Okay, little homie. But you want more?
Gotta earn it.
This time you gotta earn it.
First shot's always free.
Of course, the D-bag who owns that car could go wherever he wants.
I hear you. Grand Theft Auto, why not? Is it worse than kidnapping? You know you're really rich when you don't even notice that your Range Rover be getting stolen in front of you. See, this is rich people Litcoin. Okay.
Giving you lineage, I need an insurance policy to make sure we stay that way.
I can't fault him for any of this. He's smarter than he used to be.
You ain't safe with that thing. Cop sees you with it, you shot in the head.
True. True facts. These are stuff your daddy didn't teach you, son.
What you expect me to do once we get to the top?
Please let this be painting and not a body.
First time is never easy.
Redecorating, please.
But you'll be a man after this.
It's totally redecorating. He's building it up way too much.
I'm thinking of seafoam green.
The fact that you know the word seafoam, sir.
You wanted me to paint?
Yes.
You watch too many Tarantino movies.
Right.
Scorsese and shit.
Can't be gang banging all day.
It is to me.
Brothers got
I
things
can
to
do
do.
and you want to know what's on that tape from the Hernandezes.
They didn't know about the tape.
Yes, the tape.
I'll get it for you.
I hope Graciela's getting her piece.
There's a tape.
Her sawn off shotgun.
I'll sneak up beside her and I'll just give it a
Yes, Graciela. See, mommy.
Here it is.
Oh, gangsta. I love her.
Be next.
I mean, that actually doesn't ruin the tape itself, but
Okay, where's the camera?
I love it. She's so good. You see, she's reloading one shot at a time. Y'all better get out of that house.
joke.
No, leave Graciela alone. You cold bitch. I cannot wait till Nico gives you yours.
Molly, wait, what if our parents are in there?
I think Molly would rip her parents apart right about now, so
I gotta go.
yeah.
We can't just leave her. We have to call the
No,
police.
we gotta
I'm
go.
sure Flores is on his way. Our parents on the police, remember?
Yeah. Yeah, can we go? Fingerprints all over the crime scene. Can we go? It's alright, Molly. Pinned up all that rage, man. You just do an almighty Super Saiyan punch straight in that witch's face.
Livy, get in here and tell Darius how wrong he is.
Ah!
Yep, I agree.
Uh-oh.
Didn't even look up.
Don't need to.
Alex is gonna get a crush.
Nah, don't get used to this kid. He's just here to do some manual labor.
I'm Livy.
Nice to meet you.
Livy's
Sorry
like,
about making
excuse
you
me,
cry.
I'm single.
Tell the truth, I...
Schwig. He's like, don't you be looking at my sister-in-law.
Molly, you want to say something?
I will murder everyone who harmed you. Or just goodbye.
Everything's been taken away from me. I have no one.
We're standing right here.
You have us.
Wow. Hurtful malls. Okay, but how has Nico's makeup stayed on point this entire time? When has she had time for reapplication? I don't understand.
Thank you for being there for her. For stepping in when I couldn't.
Of course.
That's what husbands are for.
Sleep on lookout. It's nice somebody thinks I'm good for something.
Yeah, I think you're good for anything.
Oh yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh, I meant things like babysitting all day while I go talk to Molly.
Lies and slander. Really, Gert? You're gonna be like this? Whoa, okay. Nope. Nope. Yeah, no.
She hates me.
No, she doesn't hate you, sweetie. Just your timing's a little off.
Burner phones?
You bought all of this?
No, I
Yes.
stole it.
Well, some of it was on sale, but yes.
Okay.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You deserve better than this, Alex. But also, you probably should have found out what that was about. Spike? You have a soul again.
I can't let anything, and I mean anything, get in the way of that.
Y'all, we've been through this.
He needs some milk.
What is it?
Moisture eyes.
I need another box. Yeah, Tina destroyed it, saving Robert, who was sacrificing himself.
Or I forgot Victor was totally like almost dead through all this.
Who can possibly help us? My wife.
Props at long last. Oh, well, that's not the sexiest outfit ever.
As you can see, it's far from the front page and it says she died of natural causes.
It says she died.
I thought we were trying to avoid that.
Look, we did not.
Said the guy who pulled a gun for the first answer.
Jonah killed Jean and Alice to keep them from warning us.
Technically, it wasn't Jonah.
Yeah.
Guy requires sacrifice teenagers to survive.
And he glows.
I'm guessing that's not a medical condition.
And let's get back to the obvious. Homie glows.
Not be willing to have you as my co-captain.
That still sounds like a dictatorship.
Emphasis on the dick. God. Oh, wow. You sleeping on the couch tonight, sir?
I think it makes that sound.
I know what it is.
Oh, sleeping arrangements interesting. Why is Alex outside?
His nickname is my kind of bike.
Yeah? Well, mine is Chase.
That's not technically a nickname. Never mind.
That was no.
Comment.
Aw, you are underage. I love that she smiled before that happened. Girl, no, it's dirty. What?
Oh, because I need to know.
He's the only one who can tell
I
you.
can imagine how lonely and confused.
Why do you keep closing the gap? Don't touch me. Oh, goodness gracious, moi. Okay, guys, that was episode 1 of season 2, which was called Gimme Shelter. Nice start, I think, to the season. Definitely kind of a more even-keeled episode. I didn't really expect there to be a bunch of action per se. I know I didn't talk very much during the review or the reaction, but that was mostly because I knew they were doing a lot of exposition and I wanted to hear it. Because one thing I learned, at least from last season of this show, is that they don't typically go too hard with the action and the CGI and stuff in this show, but they do a lot of really good character building and development, and you kind of really have to listen to what's going on, otherwise you miss really important things. So I apologize if I should have been talking a little bit more during the reaction, but I really wanted to kind of hear what the state of the world was going forward. I mean, we didn't have any time jumps, at least. Like, we're pretty much picking up exactly from where we ended last season, but still, we needed to know some of the other things that were going on, like with Jonah, and also the plans that the parents have going forward, and if there was going to be anything with the kids But this episode was very much just kind of setting, I guess, a new normal for our characters. So I didn't write down too much because I really was paying a lot of attention to what was going on. The main things I think that were very interesting, I mean, as soon as Graciela, like, okay, let's talk about Graciela actually really quickly. I'm not sure what the point of killing her is at this point. My guess is maybe it's going to be motivation for Molly to get a little bit more fiery, and the whole group in general will maybe have to go through their own things to start putting them on the offensive, because since last season, they've very much been reactive and on the defensive when it comes to their parents. But if they're gonna actually go up against Pride and then go up against Jonah and deal with whatever's coming, they can't keep being reactive. They're gonna have to start being the ones who make the first move and strike first. And I think in the case of Graciela, where Molly's concerned, this might be the fire perhaps for her. I mean, not that Molly's ever really been that passive. Like, out of this group, I feel like she's probably the one who's been rearing to go the most, because, you know, she kind of feels a little, you can see she's feeling herself a bit right now. She's feeling a little invincible because of her power, but she's not. That's one thing we know, is that even though she can, you know, do a lot strength-wise, she's not bulletproof, at least not that we saw. She can still be knocked out. She can still be hurt. So her body is not as durable potentially as strong as she is. So yeah, she's gonna have to dial that back. Again, I think the whole point behind it is that she wants to be able to use her abilities in a way that's actually gonna be useful and something she could actually battle with. She needs to start learning how to offensively use them, and honestly just start to learn how they work overall. Like, how much can she do before she gets too tired? What does she gotta eat? Does she have to eat different things? Like, does she need like a super high calorie diet to keep up with the amount of energy she burns when she's in Super Saiyan mode? You get what I'm saying? Like, all the good things you need to do to be a superhero. So anyways, I feel like that's the main reason they had Graciela do what she did, because I just feel like it didn't make any sense to me that she would just be like, you know, Graciela, you know that these relatives of yours, Molly's parents, got involved in something. They acted all weird and shady. They come to you, leave you a package for saying, hey, if anything happens to us, give this to our daughter. Which, I mean, come on. Like, anyone knows if someone hands that to you in that kind of a way. The whole situation to me screams like that Graciela should have been able to figure out that she couldn't just go on the news and be like, so I know that you guys are up to some shady stuff and you should be looking at, like, a woman who's old enough to take in that kind of stuff and think about it. So I just think it was kind of strange that they had her really acting recklessly, like these people couldn't get to her. Like, I think even if she didn't think that they were gonna kill her, I feel like Graciela should have understood that when it comes to rich, powerful people, like, they have ways of making things go away. They have ways of making people shut up and disappear. Like, I don't know. I guess it was just, but like I said, I feel like it was just very heavily plot driven for her to die. As soon as she did that, I'm like, there's no way she's gonna live. There's no way Pride's gonna let her live now. But as I said, the only thing I can think of is it was used as motivation for Molly to really start digging in and making sure she's doing what she can to really become the best weapon to fight against Pride and what they're doing. So I guess onto the parents of Pride. Interesting that I thought the Pride had planned the whole thing about charging or having the kids framed for Molly's kidnapping. Turns out it was just Alex's parents, that they went off on their own. But it's really interesting. Last season we started to see pockets of it. Like, primarily we saw it between Chase's mom and Nico's dad, and a little bit with Alex's parents, the Wilders. But we're seeing more of everybody's kind of got their own little group and their own little thing going on. But the Wilders are really stepping out now as being like, we don't want this anymore. Like, we don't trust anybody in this group. We trust each other mostly, and that's it. We want to get out. We're willing to screw all these people over. And this, of course, coincides with the comic book versions of themselves. And thank you for all the people who gave me the information about that. I also did a little bit of reading on my own about how this whole Wilder family and the Pride thing came to be as far as this comic. And yeah, in the comics, the Wilders were pretty shady as well. They were very much self-serving and not really about the group in general. But it's interesting to see more of those very overt moves being done by them, like calling the police and handling it on their own. The fake kids in the beginning was kind of funny. But all of that aside, seeing the parents, finding out that they've had this command center sitting out. Actually, that's one thing I like about the whole Pride thing, and I kind of liked it last season as well. I love the whole hiding in plain sight aspect of their whole little group. And the fact that Nico's parents had this whole command center hidden in the midst of one of their like a community outreach social justice program centers is genius. It's like the last place anyone would ever expect something as shady as illegal surveillance to be happening. You know what I mean? The cops would never think. They'd probably go to Nico's parents' company or something like that to look for that sort of thing. They would never think to go to what looks like a fairly basic Pride social justice office. Like it was really smart. And I love that it just kind of looks like a plain old office until you shade out all the windows and put on the noise canceling and all that, and you open up this whole other command center. So that was really cool to see. And I expect no less. And I just don't know why they didn't just do that in the first place. But I guess in fairness, no one knew about that command center outside of Nico's parents. So that's why I'm pretty sure if Alex's parents had known that existed, they probably wouldn't have called the cops because they could have done their own surveillance. But I think once again, you know, going back into the Graciela thing slightly, the way that they chose to deal with Graciela seemed really silly. I don't know. I guess what I don't want to see happen this season is I don't want to see Pride dumbed down. I don't want to see them just kind of become like these bumbling, mustache twirling type villains because the kids are hip to them now. I want to see them be really formidable opponents. And the reason I want this is because it's going to make the kids shine even more if and when they take their parents down, because they're coming from the disadvantage of being young kids who, as the parent said at the beginning of the episode, oh, they've never lived on the streets, they don't know anything about survival. Like, if they take their parents down with those so-called disadvantages, that's going to be so much sweeter of defeat than if you dumb down these grown people who, like, what, 4 of them are pretty much actual geniuses. So let's not dumb them down. 5 of them, actually. I think the only ones who aren't really like scientific or technological geniuses are Alex's parents, but they're still smart in their own ways, obviously. But you get my point. I don't want them to be dumbed down. And the idea that they were like, oh, let me just grab, you know, when Alex's dad was like, oh, I'll go deal with Graciela in my peace. It's like, dude, really, you're gonna assassinate her? Because that's not gonna give credence to the very, you know, thing that she's accusing you guys of. Like, let's be smart about this, right? I want to see them move smartly. I want to see them come up with a really good, intricate plan as to how they're going to either get the kids back or bring them to the fold. Because at this point, all we've heard is that they want to get the kids back, but then what? So I want to see more. If we're going to focus on the parents a lot more, I want to see them be smart. And especially now that they've chosen to go against Jonah and take him down, they absolutely have to start being the smart people that they say they are, because they're gonna have to somehow keep him outside of the loop of all that they're doing when he's always been 10 steps ahead. And now they've got the added monkey wrench, of course, of Victor having to work with Jonah in order to stay alive. And whether or not Victor feels like, I don't know whether or not Victor's gonna feel like he wants to go up against him as well. Like, whenever he's out of his weird virtual coma, it'll be a real question to see whether or not he decides to side with Jonah or whether or not he wants to side with Pride, because I don't think he's particularly a fan of either of them. But he might be the wild card in this equation that throws a monkey wrench into what's going on with the parents. But I do hope we get to see more of what's going on with him, and that, you know, my man Spike doesn't get basically a whole season vacation by being in a play world coma the entire season. Other than that, the dynamics with the kids, I think the biggest things that stood out to me with the kids and their interactions was probably the shade with Alex. I'm just not digging it. I'm not digging it. And here's the thing, like, I know, again, spoiler for people who don't know about the comic book arc of Alex and how this all works out, but I know in the comics that Alex is the guy who turns out to be the mole and who ends up turning against these kids. And they may still go that route with the show. But I feel like for those who haven't watched or don't read the comics or don't know, like, I just feel like the writers should definitely make it so that they assume people don't know that. Because right now I feel like the show's making it super obvious that Alex would be the person to turn against them, and I don't like that. Like, good storytelling should make you him and haw. Good storyline should make you really guess right up into the end as to what certain things are going to happen with certain characters. And right now, you know, we've got Nico and Carolina, and we've got Gert and Chase and Molly, and they're all kind of like forming their own little cliques, like, against Alex, and I'm not down with it. Like, I don't know, it just felt very overt in this episode because he lost the money, or the money got robbed off of him. Alex, who just like the rest of them has never spent a day in his life on the street, they're acting like he somehow screwed up majorly because the money was taken off of him. Even though Chase had weapons of destruction stolen off of him. And while the money was absolutely, you know, something that they needed, I think it was a far bigger faux pas on Chase's part to lose weapons that also, let's face it, will lead their parents right back to them. Letting those get stolen over money which can be replaced and isn't traceable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just felt like they really went hard on Alex on that one, a little bit more than they needed to. But I should caveat by saying that I do get it that Nico in particular, she's not liking the fact that Alex is keeping secrets, and obviously with all that they're going through, the fact that Alex is keeping his relationship with the gangster whose name eludes me at the moment, the fact that he's keeping all that on the DL is obviously not going to help the group situation as far as trust, because he's keeping secrets. And as we've seen with Pride, you know, having one area keep secrets does not work well for the group. So I get that part, and I get them maybe being a little upset with him not being fully forthcoming. But I do really feel like they're kind of, I don't know, I'm feeling very much an Alex versus the group at the moment, and I don't really like that dynamic, especially so early in the season. Like, later on down the line, if he keeps doing shady stuff or they start to really see some weird changes in behavior, then I would say it was justified. But this early on, I feel like it just feels weird. And I'm hoping that we don't see it continue too hard throughout the season. And I do like that, you know, they kind of smoothly handled the whole Nico, Carolina / you know, Alex thing. I like that it's not like a jealousy or a, you know, cheap shot or anything like that. I like that Alex just simply was like, okay, I had no idea that y'all were going on it like that, and okay, I'm processing, I'm gonna deal, but cool, you know, but all right. Like, I kind of like that they're not making it into a thing, and I hope they don't make it into a thing, because let's face it, Nico was kind of playing the field with both of them all of last season, and she never really made anything solid with Alex. So you know, I'm glad that he's being mature about it, even though he's probably a little disappointed that he didn't, you know, he didn't get picked for the romantic interest. Speaking of romantic interests, we've got Alex making some eyes at a sister girl there, the sister-in-law of our gangster, and obviously they wouldn't have gone through all the trouble of introducing her and giving her a name and having her flirt with Alex without her actually becoming some type of person this season to him. But I'm okay with that. Like, if Alex can't find someone within the group right now that he can have a connection with or a relationship with, then I'm 100% for him being with somebody else, because it's, and again, I'm not saying like to leave the group or anything, but everybody needs to have a person. And right now, Alex is kind of the odd person out in their group, and going through what they're going through, he's gonna need someone that he can kind of just be himself with and relate to without feeling like it's the whole weight of the group is on him. Yeah, we'll see where that goes. I can't think it's gonna go anywhere good. I would not be surprised if this girl ends up either getting hurt or dying this season, which would be very sad. But yeah, I don't know how it's going to go well for her at this point, but clearly her and Alex are going to be starting something, and we'll see what goes on with that. As far as other relationships, obviously Carolina and Nico are still going strong. They didn't really go too deeply into their relationship this episode, but they did kind of show us some different things with Gert and Chase. Okay, let's just put a little virtual hug out there from my boy Chase. Like, he is just, for a guy that was the popular dude in school with girls drooling all over him, he's really struggling with how to handle a girl right now. But Gert's not making it easy. This poor guy, like, he just, you could tell since I think the finale of last season and this episode, he still has no idea how to read Gert or what to do with this whole situation. You know, in his mind, you can tell he's like, okay, we hooked up, and then we're like cuddling at night, and then during the day you're all like, stay away from me, like Gert's such a spaz, and he's just like, I don't know, like, what's happening here? Like, he just needs to grab Gert and be like, can we please just DTR, like, can we define this relationship and just figure out what's going on? I feel like Gert just needs to get herself together. She just needs to just chill out. I mean, Chase obviously likes her. He's into her. I don't know where the insecurities are coming from, but I feel like she just needs to at least last season they made it seem like her issue is that she didn't think that Chase really liked her. Clearly that's not the case, so I feel like she needs to just give old boy a chance. Like, you know, she should still give him a little bit of a hard time because Chase is a bit of an idiot and he kind of needs it. But as far as the relationship goes, she just needs to let the homie know, like, are we on or are we off? He doesn't know how to act for 1 minute to the less, and you got a dinosaur ready to bite this poor boy's hand off, okay? So just give him a break, sweetie. But yeah, that was pretty much all we got this episode. And then of course the big reveal at the end that Carolina is in contact with her dad. And as I said when I watched the trailer for this season, That makes total sense to me. Like, Carolina knows nothing about what she really is, what she's capable of doing, if she's capable of harming herself or other people. Like, she knows nothing, and none of her friends can help her with that. And it's not the sort of thing I think she can Google, right? So I get that it's a very natural thing for her to be like, I gotta talk to the one other person on the planet that I know is like this, and that's my dad. So, but it'll be interesting to see how Jonah tries to manipulate this situation and whether or not Carolina will be smart enough to be wise to it. As I said, pretty interesting start to the season. This episode was pretty level, pretty chill overall, but still pretty good. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting into episode 2. So stay tuned for that. So I hope you like watching this video, guys. If you did, please click like. And if you want to see more from this geeky face, please click subscribe. Until next time, see ya.